Good morning, fellow traders. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're doing great. Kicking off a little early U.S. market open just a few minutes ago. Silver and gold pushing down right here as I type. A lot of things to cover, right? Where do we start? There's so much good information. First thing, U.S. stock markets are down just a little bit. Nothing too crazy. 50 points on the Dow, 2.5 on NASDAQ, S&P. So we're going to leave that off to the side for just a little bit. Looking at the charts, obviously the big news overnight was the pound. I posted a link. I'm going to post 2 more here for everyone. Hey, how's it going, you guys? I'm just going to post a couple in here. One I already posted a little while ago, but I think it's just good information. Cool. Yeah, silver has fallen off a cliff. You got it. Hey, Lynn. One. Art. Julman. Nice. Cool. Just a couple links here. And these links will give you a little more information about what happened out of the UK with Theresa May. And she announced that snap election coming up on June 8th. And the reasons why it can be really, really strong for the Great British Pound. You know, in a nutshell, now again, I'm in the US, I'm not in the UK. And, you know, this is still morning for me, so I'm going to let all this stuff settle in here. I haven't been up watching the charts for 5, 6, 7 hours or anything yet. But the information that I did glean so far is that she'll have room for a softer Brexit. You know, instead of that hard Brexit where everything is just clean cut, more abrasive, it's going to get rid of that likelihood. So you might remember in the last few months, especially those in the premium room when we were talking about this a lot, the soft Brexit, you know, we were thinking that the pound had a lot to gain and the euro had more to lose. And we did really well actually, selling the euro pound over and over and over again. But things have changed a little bit now, haven't they? It said in one of the articles here, I'm not going to claim any information here as my own, it removes political uncertainty, so for a short period of time is favorable for the markets. This will weaken demands for a hard Brexit. She could get rid of this diplomatic liability called Johnson and still have room to move back to a softer Brexit. So that's sort of the big stuff. And then Deutsche Bank and the Reuters feed said that this was a game changer for the currency. Here's something that I think is really important to know, and I posted this a little bit ago just to give you more info. It's not like it's the Holy Grail or anything, but Deutsche Bank said we've been structurally negative on the sterling for the last 2 years, but we are now changing our view. This morning's announcement of a snap election on June 8th is a game changer for both the UK's Brexit negotiation and sterling. So basically, Deutsche Bank changed their view on the pound just because of that. Just because of that announcement, said it's going to raise its forecast for the pound in the coming days. So I think we're going to see a lot more continued strength out of the British pound. Just some good information. Hey, how's it going, Trady? J Money, Husky Trader. Or you know the belief that a Brexit impact is already priced into the is more at risk in the euro. Right now, yeah, that's my view on it. I have to ask you guys this. I mean, I know it sounds bad, but I have to ask you. So the trade idea that I posted, I think it was Thursday or Friday. I posted the trade idea, and then I also posted live on Friday morning that I closed out this trade in real time, long on the pound. I'm not expecting any of you held it through the weekend, or especially through this news, because if you would have moved your stops, you would have got whipped out. But anybody take this trade and hold it over the weekend? I'm just curious, because you would have did really well. I told you not to do it. I wouldn't recommend doing it. The trades that I recommended holding over the weekend were shorts in the yen pairs or long in gold or silver or crude. Of course, the market, it's already Tuesday morning here and Central Time in the U.S. The market's open Sunday evening. And decent little short-term trade. I had a little sell on dollar yen not too long after market opened and made about 20, 21 pips, I think. So it wasn't too bad. Closed it before the weekend with small profit. Don't hold anything over the weekend. That's a good idea, Omega Man. Very good. That's good. You had a small profit, though. Hey, nice. Good. So currently, my trades, I did scalp around on dollar yen last night on my LMFX live account. This account is still with FX Choice, the one that I'm using here. But LMFX is where I'm moving my funds over to as time goes on here, slowly but surely. Let's take a look at silver, because silver is really pushing down pretty fast. I know a lot of you don't trade it, but I just want to take a quick look. We had the support come in at around 1834, and we pushed down to about 1812, 1813. And right now, we're in this consolidation zone. So I'm not that interested in getting short or long silver right now, so I'm just going to tuck this one away. Gold is sort of a similar scenario, pushing down to about 1280, 1279, 1279s. So what I need to get my bearing on for the week here, because I didn't trade much yesterday except for a few scalps around on the dollar yen. But my bearings that I need to get set for my own trading is what's happening with the dollar index. So we're currently at 99.80. Then we'll take a look at some of the news as well, of course. Dollar index pushing down beneath our support area of 100. If we project this sort of imperfect trend line from our sort of pseudo head and shoulders stretched out quite a bit, that would put us at a possible target going down on the dollar index for 98.80. Again, for my own trading, just my own, when I start putting on the bigger trades and start trying to make thousands of dollars here, I'm still going to wait just a little bit. I say this all the time, but I don't want anybody who's new to watching my trades to think I'm some kind of guy that just waits and waits and sits on my hands, because I don't. I take a fair number of trades every week. And I just feel like there's a lot of unrest here. I mean, one of the pairs that made me a lot of money this year was the euro pound, and it is pushing down, breaking through support. You may recall this last week. I said a few times I was definitely bearish on euro pound, but I wasn't quite in a position to take any more entries. We did take a couple little trades here, 30 pips, and I think a pip or two or three here this last week, or the week before actually, on the euro pound. So what do you do with the pound? I mean, that's sort of the elephant in the room, right? What do we do right now with the pound? Where are we looking at? I mean, we broke through pretty much everything on the way up, with the exception of the wicks coming up here near the top at 127.75, but we are very close to that. And it's always interesting how this plays out. If we look left, take a look on the daily here. I don't know how well you can see my chart here, the little wicks, but see this wick that we put in? I'm highlighting right over it now. It's on December 6th of this last year. If we look to the left, it coincides very closely, probably within 10 pips or so, of the potential resistance level that was put in on July 6th of 2016. So this range that we have here is going to be a key area, in my opinion, for the pound to break out of. Now, I'm not saying I'm not bullish on the pound right now, but I'm not going to buy it right here. I mean, it goes against every rule of trading that I have. Buying at the top, buying near resistance. Excuse me, allergy season here. We finally getting the plants up, the grass is greening up, and I got some allergies kicking in. I was out in the yard the other day, so I apologize. So looking at the pound dollar, what do we do right now? I think if you're like me and you're not in this trade, hopefully you're making a lot of money and you're in it, but if you're not in it, I think the only thing you could do right now is wait, because I don't think fundamentally that we're going to see a large pullback on the pound dollar. I don't think so. If you wanted to try to calculate that up, You could use your Fibonacci tool from the swing high to the swing low, which a lot of traders do. And you could try to get long around the 23.6 area, which would be 26.90s, but that'd still be a 40 pip pullback. I don't know if we're going to see that with the strong fundamental news. You can see that the pound did pull back a little here, and it was only about 19 pips or so. So I still think the pound has room to go. But if you look near the top of my chart, you see this gray area and this line coming up. This line extends from roughly 27.50s to about 28. Until the pound settles and gets either rejected at this level, which I don't think is going to happen, or continues to push through, I'm going to wait. I'm just going to wait for it to bust through. If it does, pull back hopefully, and then continue to the upside. In the meantime, I'd be more prone to trade the euro pound, maybe the pound Swiss. So I don't want to come late to the party here. You know, most of the reason that a lot of retail traders don't make money is they just get in too late. You know, they try to buy at the top or try to call tops and try to sell here. You know, the risk is smaller to call tops and sell, but the odds of you being right are a lot slimmer. And over time, it's just harder to reproduce that, in my opinion. Just taking a quick look at the chat here. Oh boy, Potter. Yeah, grass is greener up is good. I won't comment on the other part. But yeah, it is nice. For those of you in the premium room who listen to me most days or most times, last year, you know that we're just getting hit with snow after snow after snow for months and months. It just never ends. So what are we going to do in the pound? I'm going to wait on it for now, at least on the pound dollar. Pound yen is, you know, going to the moon, obviously, of course, here. I mean, it retraced down 100 pips when that announcement was made. And then once things were solidified and it got clarity on what the information actually meant, it's up 260 pips from there. I think that most traders across the globe here are agreeing that, at least in the short term, we have to be long pound, whether it's euro pound, pound dollar, pound yen, at least the pairs that I trade. The question is getting the right entry. You know, where are you gonna get in? I mean, it's just going sort of parabolic here. Gave a little chance for a pullback here, but I don't see that coming anytime soon. So I don't want to waste your time here as we're kicking off this new week. I know trading was since Sunday night here and Monday, but you know, as far as my live streams go, kicking off this new week, I don't want to waste your time by saying let's forget about the pound, because that's obviously the huge amount of news and attention. It's a lot of momentum and focus in the market, a lot of news there. But in my opinion, I would wait. Obviously, the only thing that you could do right now if you wanted to get in is just buy the pound. You know, buy pound dollar, buy pound yen, or sell euro pound. But in hindsight, the odds of you looking back on that a few hours from now and saying, man, I should have waited to get a better price, are pretty high. So just be reasonable about it. You know, we got hours and days and weeks and months to trade, years to trade, right? And I'm telling you from personal experience, and I'll get off my soapbox. Personal experience for me, over 10 years trading the forex market here, mainly trading these currency pairs. Most of the time, when you try to get in on the rush after a few hours and you sort of miss the bus on it a little bit, most of the time, you're not going to do that good. Or at least if you do good, you can't reproduce it again. So we want to do things that are easily reproducible, that can build us into more consistent long-term traders. And we have to take that human emotion off the table. You know, take your emotion off the table if you're not in the pound trade. Don't think, oh shit, I missed that. I could have had 10 grand or I could have had $500 or whatever. Just leave that go and look at all the other setups. I mean, there's dozens of trades every single day. So don't worry about it. Don't let it hurt you. You know, I wish I would have held my pound dollar over the weekend, but that's not what works for me over time. And if I would have moved my stops up and got stopped out anyway. So, you know, you can play with your mind a little bit that way. Don't let it get you. Don't let it get you down. So what are we going to do right now? Let's take a quick look at the news. Of course, we had monetary policy meeting minutes out of Australia. We had all the holiday stuff. The news out of China was pretty good on Sunday evening here. Industrial production was better. GDP came out just a hair better than expected. Building permits for the U.S. came out pretty much flat, just slightly better than expected. Housing starts a little worse. Next news is tentative New Zealand dollar GDP price index. I'm not a big trader of the New Zealand dollar, but the tentative news releases can sometimes be a little bit frustrating because you don't know exactly what's going to come out. You can look historically and see when the average time is. There's a few websites out there that'll let you do that, especially with the Chinese news. They'll say out of the last 50 events that were tentative for this topic, the average time range is from 8 o'clock p.m. to 9:15 p.m. So you can get at least some idea. Tomorrow we have CPI out of New Zealand, Philly Fed out of the U.S. on Thursday, Carney speaking on Thursday as well, retail sales Friday, and CPI to CAD. So overall this week, and I'm talking just Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Overall this week, pretty quiet for news if you're a forex trader. There's some high impact news releases, but it's fairly quiet. U.S. stock markets are still down slightly. NASDAQ is basically at even now. Taking a look over at this. Let's just pull this up here, shall we? Looking at Trump's Twitter feed. He's been pretty quiet about things. Of course, most of you know that they have a lot of presence out by North Korea, and a lot of people expected something to go down with North Korea this weekend, myself included. North Korea did launch the ballistic missile, and it failed. I think it blew up just shortly after it launched. The U.S. didn't really do anything about that right now. Donald Trump's going to be in Wisconsin tomorrow, or today, Tuesday. Probably here right now, Wisconsin. We're going to get rid of this Deutsche Bank comment. 5 reasons UK elections could be pound positive. I posted that with you. Not that it's a be-all, end-all, but you get the idea. Calendar, we just reviewed some of that stuff. I like to use Financial Juice for my news feed along with Twitter. Nothing here that we didn't already cover. So let's get into some charts. I'm going to switch back over to this just to show you the sheer and utter craziness we have in the pound. So this is the momentum meter. This is Andrew's meter here that he had coded and thankfully shared with everyone. We can see that the pound is obviously the strong currency. The Aussie's weak, the dollar's weak, New Zealand's weak. We're seeing maybe a little turn in the Canadian dollar on the very short-term 5-minute time frame. But basically, it's all about the pound. And you can see here, the pound had just this huge spike. This is the hourly time frame. And again, as Andrew has so nicely educated me, this flat line is the 20 moving average. And these lines are how far the current pair has deviated from the 20 moving average. And then he adds commentary here in the chat room that can show up right here as well. So momentum meter is telling the story. I mean, basically, everything that is telling us is you got to be long pound, looking to buy pound on pullbacks, whatever pair you want, versus the dollar, versus the Aussie, versus even the euro, versus the yen. I'd like to take a moment just to look into the others, though, with you. My favorite currency pair to trade, which I haven't given a lot of love and attention lately, is the Euro Aussie. Right at the end of last week, I was highlighting this 1.4000 level. and discussing what it could do to my current trades. I think we had a trade on the euro dollar, and I was long on the euro dollar. And you might be able to correct me here. I think I got out at break even or plus just a little bit on the euro dollar. Remember, I had that one in my other account, and I had the pound dollar live in this account. And I was talking about how the euro Aussie, if it could bounce at 400, would be good for my euro long position and help a little bit of momentum. Well, this euro Aussie obviously has taken off to the moon. And one of the reasons I like the euro Aussie more than most other currency pairs, although I have been warming up to the euro pound here in the last 6 months or so, is that it's just fairly smooth. I mean, it's not affected by the crazy ramblings that we get out of the USD, with Trump speaking and the stock markets here. It tends to be, when you get on a short-term trend with the euro Aussie, you have opportunities to add more to it, and it tends to have smaller pullbacks, at least in my opinion, versus the other currency pairs. If you were actively trading the pound right when that news came out with Theresa May earlier today, there's a good chance you got whipped out, because the thing pushed down, and it didn't just push down for a minute. I mean, it pushed down for a while before it shot up. So there's a good chance you could have lost money if you're trying to catch that. So the euro Aussie, where do we go from here? Currently at 41.75 or so. A couple of us last week were trying to sell this thing over and over and over, and either breaking even or getting stopped out with a small loss. That 14000 level is definitely strong. We only broke down by about 15 pips, give or take a few. So where are we going to go? Like most things, right now for me, I am mixed. I mean, you know me good enough. Usually I have a few trades going, or I'm got a pending order going, but this is the area on the euro Aussie that I have been the most interested with, and that is this area of support that was coming in on the daily. How we broke down, we couldn't make it, we popped up, we pushed back down, we're hovering, and we're basically consolidating in this area. Now, on a daily time frame, it is consolidation. But when you zoom it down to the 15-minute, there's nothing about consolidation at all here, right? So it depends on your frame of reference. If we look out at the monthly to see where we are, gives you a better view there. The weekly and the daily. If the daily continues to press up outside of this little gray box here that I, sort of nonchalantly drew in, we could see a very nice bullish engulfing candle here on the day, especially if it pumps up a little bit above these wicks here, sitting at about 142.20s and change there. So I'm not at liberty to buy this because we're not completely broken out of the area that I'm looking to get short earlier in. But I'm definitely not going to turn my opinion here that quickly. So, and I hate to repeat this too much, but I think it's so worthwhile. As a fairly consistent, long-term, profitable forex trader, talking to you as a friend of mine now in the room here, I'm mixed, and I'm going to wait because it just doesn't fit my parameters. The old me years ago would say, well, we've moved up a lot. It's probably overextended. We're coming up on this potential area of resistance. Let's try to sell this thing. Our stops could be pretty close, right? I mean, that's not bad, is it? I mean, you could do that. You could say, man, this thing's getting overextended. Let's keep our stops 15, 20 pips. Let's try to pick up 20, 30 down. But over the years, that is not working the best for me. I made money, I lost money. And now, as you've all seen in the last few weeks anyway, now that we combine the rooms so that we're all together, I do pretty well. I do pretty well week over week after week. Some weeks down, but most of the weeks I do pretty darn good. And the reason that I've finally turned the page on that a while back is because I got rid of a lot of this impulsive thinking and trying to pick tops. But on the Euro Aussie, there is a few reasons technically to be trying to pick a top and go short. Stops to be pretty well controlled for this pair. Could be the trade of the year to sell it right here. But it's just not something that I'm set up to do right now. It just doesn't work for me over time. So I'm going to wait. And I'm going to be patient. And hopefully watch my trading account grow by the end of the week again. So take it all with a grain of salt. Make your own trades. If you're trying to get short Euro Aussie, definitely don't let me change your mind. I'm just telling you the way I do it. Let's take a look at the Aussie buck. The Aussie dollar is sort of the real cripple here, you know, as far as currency weakness, Australian currency. You remember we were sticking at the 75-cent level for a while. That was our sticking point. Finally broke down beneath it this last week by 20-some pips. Market said nope. We had that news come out of Australia. You might remember that if you were in the market. Had this broken head and shoulders. This was not, no, this was back in March, but I think we called it about 100 pips to the upside with the neckline, and we got all of that. I sold it here, picked up 40 pips. So where are we going to go from here on the Aussie buck? I mean, I hate to say it, but I think the only way that I'd be trading this would be to the downside. Now, would I take an Aussie dollar short, or would I rather get on the Euro Aussie long after it would break out to the upside? That's the question that I have. And to that, I usually turn to my news, and I see it's pretty quiet. New Zealand news can affect the Australian currency a bit, of course. We have some lighter news coming in later today, motor vehicle sales and things like that, but that shouldn't have much effect. I think if you're going to trade the Aussie dollar, my overall bias is to the downside. My overall bias on the Euro Aussie is up. Pound dollar up, pound yen up, Euro pound down. I think pretty self-explanatory. I do like this sort of rolling over on the 4 hour. I know I'm zoomed out here a little bit, but this rolling over on the 4 hour, taking out the lows. I think Aussie dollar could go lower. Again, I'm not taking a trade here. I'm just being real honest with y'all. So if Euro Aussie can break up and hold, I'll be looking to get long on it on a retrace and possibly get in short of to the Aussie dollar. Dollar CAD. Let me clean this up. We had a buy and a winner and a loser there. Yeah, just naked chart here. No indicators, oscillators, MACDs, none of that stuff. Just naked charting here on the dollar CAD. I'm just not, I don't want to take the steam out of things. I mean, I want to have fun and make money with you guys here, of course, but I just don't feel it on dollar CAD either way. So that's real world right there. I just don't feel, I mean, there's reasons to go long and there's reasons to be short. And we have trend lines here, 4 hour, we got price rejection, we got an obvious uptrend here on the weekly. And if you take a look on the dollar CAD 15-minute here, we have 17 candlesticks where it's just chopping around. I mean, it's just mixed. I mean, there's my overall trading strategy when I do support and resistance, trend lines, key numbers, psychological numbers and prices, pattern trading, divergence trading. I mean, the pattern that I dislike the most is when you see something like this on the 15-minute where it just comes down, takes out the lows, comes back up, takes out the highs, stirs around for, I mean, it just is messy for me. What I try to do is what I've been thinking out loud doing, and that's trying to find my overall bias. Like weak Australian dollar, strong pound dollar. I mean, I think buying pound CAD, pound Swiss, good idea. I try to get my bias first And then I try to pick the best currency to match up with that biased currency. So if I really feel like the Australian dollar is weak, I'll try to decide if I trade it against the US dollar or the euro or the pound, sort of like the momentum meter does, right? You try to find the weakest currency against the strongest currency, try to see if there's any news events that might surprise us and shock us, and then move forward with your trade if you get a good entry price. It's just like going to, I mean, how many people will go to buy a car and not shop around and negotiate and haggle? I mean, it would just be foolish, right? So you're trying to find the best deal. Right now, the market is telling us Aussies is weak as heck and the pound is as strong as all get out. The yen is starting to get a little stronger, but even that is starting to be a little difficult to pick. Sitting at 108.69, 108.68 dollar yen. You might recall this last week, I think there was a couple people in the chat room that said, how low is dollar yen going to go? And obviously I don't know, but I highlighted this wick, just straight up technical trading here, the wick that was put in on July 21st last year, which was at 107.49, 107.50. And we came pretty close. I mean, we got, I'm talking long-term charts here. We came within about 60 some pips of that. So I still think that's the next logical target. We're going to have to see what the stock markets do. So, overall, I'm biased to the downside on the yen pairs, except the pound yen. I mean, pound yen, gosh. But you can see when you look at your charts, the pound is smashing the dollar, smashing the euro, but it's not, at least in the last 15 minutes, not really smashing the yen too much, is it? So we're seeing some waves of direction come back into the market here now, as far as currency pairs versus the pound. Euro Aussie is going to be breaking out, I think, pretty soon here. We'll see. Getting close, getting toppy. Again, I'm going to be waiting for that breakout to happen and complete, and then have a pullback. And I'll be around in the chat room today and streaming again later on this evening at 8 p.m. Central Time. And I'll definitely post some trade ideas if I end up getting some trades that I jump in on. We can get rid of this this fib here because that's obviously no longer in play. Pound's pushing up to that 27.75 area. And again, if you're tuning in just a little bit late, 27.75 on the 4-hour was this one that we put in on December last year. 27.75. And we're right there, aren't we? Right there. So I'm going to give you a little quick summary, then I'll take a look at the chat, see if there's anything that you guys want to look at together. But my overall bias, long in the pound, short on the Aussie, and questionable strong yen, which would be selling the yen pairs, except for the pound yen, of course. Dollar index is going to be the big deciding factor for me, and I just don't think it's quite shaken out. I think the dollar index is going to go down. I mean, my bias is down. But that'd push up the dollar CAD. I'm sorry, push down the dollar CAD. I'm looking at the Aussie buck, and really interesting to me how weak the Australian currency is right now. Let's take a peek over here quickly. It's pretty clear cut. It's sort of all or nothing here, right? You get that little teetering change of the yen strength coming in a little bit here on the 5-minute. But really dollar, Aussie weak. New Zealand and CAD are weak. It's all about pound, euro. Swissies pulling up some strength, of course. All right. Let's see what we got here. Nice to have a bunch of people in the room, isn't it? Get a little interaction. Tell your friends, your coworkers, your family. Come on over, hang out with us. Let's see. Thumbs up. Don't get caught with the dumbass herd, Potter says. That's good. Jenny says, because if you buy now, you buy at the high. Give time, price. Take time for price to continue later. Dollar yen looks like a good sell. I'm reading here. See you later, Omega Man. Thanks for staying up. Thoughts on yen overextension? Let's take a look. Pound yen almost get to your 139, Jenny. Yeah, it's getting close. Potter says, Jason, you make this up as you go along, because if you do, the ad lib is first class. Can't see how you can do much prep. Just have to have the force to talk. Yeah, basically what I do is when I'm doing these streams is I look over the markets, of course, before. I really like my evening streams during the Asian session on Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Central, because I've been around the markets most of the day and I got a really good handle, at least I think, on what's going on. Like right now, when I do the morning streams, I'm up maybe an hour and a half before, got to eat, get ready, that kind of stuff. And then I probably got a 15-minute to half-hour window to study the charts before I come on. But what I think would give me value if I were in a room like this is watching a trader just sort of think out loud. And that's what I'm trying to do. My brain works a lot faster, of course, than my mouth can say things. But that's sort of, I'm just speaking through the things that I look at. They're not always right, so don't, bet the ranch on my reviews here. But I'm just trying to get your brain thinking and to see the things that I'm seeing. There's a lot of things I've not talked about, right? I didn't spend a lot of time on a lot of things, like New Zealand currency or crude we didn't look at, or other pairs that are really common, like Aussie CAD, Aussie Yen, Pound Swiss. I didn't look at any of that stuff yet. What do you think? How many carats per day? Oh, gosh. Wait, no, be short. Got it. Short position in sterling. That's funny. I think I'm probably going to skip. I'm going to skip some of these chats here because there's a lot of them. We're also seeing some people jump onto the YouTube chat as well. And I'm sorry if you're watching. FX Squeeze, Daniel Lim. I try to at least keep focused here to stay within the chat room at Forex Signals. But as we get more and more streams over the months and years, we have more interaction here. Says, how can I get premium room? There is no premium room anymore. There used to be a premium room. If you're new here, just so you know, I think it's at least worth bringing up for 5 seconds. We used to have the public room, which is basically free for everybody. And then we had the premium room, which was also free, but you had to have at least $5,000 in a trading account that was linked to the brokers that we recommended. It was still free, but you had to trade through that account. And then we did all these live streams. Now we combine them all. So everything is here in one room. There is no premium separation there. The people with premium member after their name are the ones that were with us in the premium room that we ran for several months. Any idea dollar CAD going 134.05? Going 130. 134.05. Let's see. I think dollar CAD could go up to 134.05 pretty easily. Definitely. I'm not confident enough to get in, but I think 34.05 is a good target. Depending on orders and entry and things, a target might be a little bit, well, obviously easier, but 33.90s, 33.97, 33.98, because then you're keeping yourself a little bit away from the big number of 34 even. basically what I'm saying, just number wise, I think it's sort of common sense, but if you get over 34, 1.34000 on dollar CAD, and you break it by a good 5 to 10 pips so you can get your profit levels with your spreads there, I think you could see even continued movement upward. So I would rather be more conservative of a type of trader and put my profits at 133.90s just to make sure that I get a better chance at least, not make sure, but have a better chance of getting hit. Again, dollar CAD to me sort of messy. It'll be interesting to see if the pound dollar can break the 27.75 mark. You can see we are pushing back here a little bit from that area. We didn't quite get there. Missed it by about 10 pips. Obviously, that's a big area that a lot of people are watching. Based on just the fundamentals, I don't feel that we're going to have much trouble busting that to the top side on the pound dollar. The only thing that I think would give us a chance of not making that level on the pound dollar is if we see some dollar strength come back into the market. And if we bolt on down to the 5-minute here on the dollar index, it's not looking too good. 99.74 right now. And then you say, well, where's the next support level? Really, this gray box that I had drawn in back in March is our sort of price consolidation zone, and we're pushing down into that. So when I do these streams in my own mind, and I want to do it for all of you, but in my own mind, what I want to give you is some clarity, right? And you can probably tell by my voice I don't have a lot of clarity right now, and that's why I don't have any trades going on. So my overall bias is weak Aussie to the upside on Euro Aussie, strong pound, whether you pick it against the Euro pound, pound dollar, pound yen, pound Swiss. And then I'm also feeling a little bit of strength here as far as my own bias at the yen will strengthen, and we'll see the yen pairs drop a little. I'm very mixed on silver and gold. Dollar index, I think, is going to fall. That's my bias anyway. So that's what I have. I'm not taking any trades right now. Some of you may have taken 20 since I started streaming because that's just how you trade, and that's fine. But with my own strategy, I'm going to wait a little bit. Scalped around dollar yen yesterday. Took those little profits on pound dollar long before the weekend. Last weekend was a good week. Last week was a good week for me. The last several weeks have been pretty darn good. But that's all I have for you. I'm going to put a little market wrap video up together, and then I'll be in the chat throughout the day and then back on live today. Again, if you want to ask any questions about things that I'm doing, feel free to shoot me an email. It's always better to put it in the chat, though. If you have a question about a pair or why I'm doing something or what I think of this, again, I'm not trying to be the Holy Grail, but if you have questions, that's why we're here, not only to answer them, but to stir up discussion. So instead of doing the private message thing, which is fine, try to keep it in the chat room. Then when everybody can see it, and we can all, most of the time, if there's something that people are watching, that a person's watching, more people are also watching the same thing or have the same questions or same thoughts. So keep them in the chat if you can. It helps everybody out. And I will see you when I come back around here shortly in the chat room. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.